Okay, we bailed out on Sunday because we're old and tired, so we're going to go through the bottle haul, what it costed me, would I go back, and everything else. So let's run down a bit of a summary of the Kentucky Bourbon Fest 2025. Oh, and also this happened the night before, so a good friend invited us over to bottle kill his Double Eagle Very Rare. So that's a very rare invitation that could not be turned down, so that brought out a whole bunch of other bottles with a whole bunch of really good guys, and so weren't feeling the best to get up at 4 or 5 in the morning to go get into a line. So hey, I'll do that any day of the week. So Sunday morning, there's a line. It's a little bit longer than even what it was on Saturday. Mostly me and John are old and very, very fucking tired, so we're bailing out. We're gonna go home, pat my dog about. Okay, so Kentucky Bourbon Fest 2025 bottle haul. This is what I came home with. So start off down here. This is the free bottle I got for the VIP. It's Angel's Envy. It's a Kentucky Bourbon Fest 2025, 110 proof. Finished in their port wine barrels. I'm not a big Angel's Envy fan, but someone told me that was the best Angel's Envy that I'd ever had, so gonna have to crack that one and give it a go. Silver Grove for old Homer. He's been asking for one of these for ages, and I've driven past the distillery up there in Cincinnati and forgot every time. And now it might not be quite Cincinnati, but you know what I mean. So this bowling pin, super cool. They had these bowling pins in the sort of 80s, maybe even 70s. This is the new one. It's really low proof, like 86 proof, but they say it's some pretty good juice in there. Now the most expensive bottle of the week, Bluegrass, 18-year, probably rhymes with Smartin. Like everybody else is 18-year, but this thing is fantastic. This is GTS level stuff if you ask me. So the $3.99. And it's the same stuff that's in the Calumet 18, and side by side, I much prefer that. It's 129 proof, just stands on its own. Little short barrel Hazy, 141.7. Ran into this guy on Thursday with the help of friends. Told us where to go and what to do, so thank you to those guys. Dark Arts, some buff turkey. Now I did have 2 buff turkeys. I had the Dark Arts and I had the Buckner's special release one, which was also a 16-year buff turkey. I did try this and I liked it. I didn't try the Buckner's one because they didn't have it for sample, and I gave it as an option for a trade. I'll tell you what I got there. Well, yeah. So this is the Wheat King by Bardstown, and Steve Nally, he is the Wheat King, and so he likes wheated bourbons. And so this one, 130 proof, same mash bill as their wheated bourbon. If you know their wheated bourbon, it's delicious. So this is a cask strength version of that. I got one of them last year. Man, one of the sweetest whiskeys that I've ever had. And Disco 13, signed by the 2 guys there. And yeah, Disco 13, that's a good one, man. Is it as good as 11 and 12? If you like double oak, yes. And I quite like a light double oak, and that is it. So I'm gonna have to do a side by side, aren't I? So there's a Parker's Heritage 11. This is this American whiskey. So the deal with this is it's a corn whiskey that was aged separately, like probably a 99-1 or something, and another whiskey which was a rye and malt only whiskey, aged separately, then combined, blended into that thing, and that has a very strange, sort of strange, has like a citrus note that I've only ever got on American single malts, and it's quite strange and it's quite delicious, and I like it. So Old Fitz VBS 11-year. Me and the boys hammered that a little bit, but it's a good one. It's no 13, but man, there might not ever be another 13, so it's still a really good Old Fitz. Hardin's Creek. So Hardin's Creek, they had 3 different ones: the owl, the beaver, and the mushroom. The owl came from the top, the mushroom from the bottom, and the beaver from the middle. And what else comes from the middle in Jim Beam is Booker's, and Booker knows where all the honey barrels were, so that's why I got the beaver. And from what I've tried and what I've heard, I think the beaver is best. Knob Creek 21. This one is quite special, quite good. Hopefully it comes out in the market, and if it does, if you like oak, man, pick that up. That's really good. And now this is what I traded my Buckner's Buff Turkey for. Gave a buddy an option, and that's one he chose. But the Beacon, because this thing is goddamn fantastic. So pretty stoked to get one of those. Found it at Total Wine for me. Awesome box with the old alligator char stuff going on there, and awesome whiskey in that bottle. Yeah, we did try the Z-Biotics. I am not sponsored by them. They give me no money, but I actually think they helped. I think they probably helped a lot. So that's it. Yeah, we didn't hang around on Sunday. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, but that is the bourbon haul for the 2025 KBF. Now, there's a wild turkey over there because I bought it. I bought that open from a buddy. He wasn't a big fan, and I am, and so it was going cheap, so picked that up on the way out there too. And yeah, and so the Master's Keep was not available at the Kentucky Bourbon Fest. I just picked it up from a guy at the Kentucky Bourbon Fest. So yeah. So Kentucky Bourbon Fest 2025 is a wrap. As you may have saw already, depending on where I put it, we bailed out on Sunday. We brought $7 chairs from Walmart. First of all, we didn't bring chairs because we were told, I'd read you weren't allowed the chairs. Silly move, right? Because this is Bourbon Kentucky Line Fest 2025, so everyone had chairs. But we got $7 chairs from Walmart. Not very comfortable, not weight rated, but they did their trick, and I just left them there. Some guy picked it up and put it in his car, which was fine, better than just leaving them there. But that means we needed to go to Walmart to get some more chairs for Sunday. Didn't really think that too far in here, but anyway. By the time we went past the line was already past where I was the previous day that you saw on Saturday. So we decided just to bail, and we were somewhat vindicated because someone who was in the position we would have been in, actually probably more in front of us, I would have had to get out, hold the place while John got the chairs from Walmart. He didn't get one in VIP. But the good news is what they did do is they held back some VVS for the GA guys. Now, once again, we knew it was VVS. I already had a VVS. I didn't really want another one. Sure, I could trade it, but we hammered my VVS actually. In the running for most hammered VVS, maybe first bottle kill of VVS 11. But no, it's really good. We'll run through that in a little bit. But first, what did I think of Kentucky Bourbon Fest 2025? So, most things in life, you know, when you just come out of them, you look at the negatives, but as your memories fade, the negatives fade faster and things seem good. So the negatives, I don't know if it's even a negative, right? You just are gonna have to plan your attack. And I think is, if you're gonna chase bottles, what this year proved is you have to have VIP, except for that Sunday, which I think was great. And maybe they do something like that more next year. So take us all with a grain of salt. The distilleries and the guys there may change it all up next year. But what this year proved, if you wanted to chase bottles, you had to have VIP. Not only that, you had to be in line well before open. The first day, 2 hours. You had to be in line early, way before open. Like the first day was like 2 hours. On Friday, Saturday, you're talking 2.5. Sunday looked like 3 to sort of guarantee yourself a bottle, which is a lot of work, right? But you know, you sit out there and it's fun. You watch the videos. It is a good time, and I don't mind doing it. But you have to be prepared for that. The other option is you don't do any of that. You don't go to chase bottles. You just get the GA ticket, a couple of $100 or whatever it's going to be, and you just go and have pours because. Like Zach from Bourbon Kingdom said, you get your money's worth of pours. Like you try stuff, more whiskey than you could ever try. Man, they had like preservation 18, 17 year stuff that was $1,000 a bottle, and you could try there. So, man, it was pretty special. So you pick your path, and your path may be picked for you depending on how fast those VIP tickets go.
The next question is, how expensive are they going to be next year? Like already this year, we were like $1,200. No. There was ones that were $1,500 for the decanter, and some people I heard had to get those because that's what all that was left. My Flask Force was like $800, and the normal ones are about $500. My Flask Force, I think, was a nice middle ground. I got some cool little trinkets, maybe worth the difference, but it just gets more and more expensive, right? And you saw the bottle costs there. So the total, so like about $3,000. It was a $3,000 weekend, which is not cheap in anybody's language. It allows me to get all that bourbon, which honestly is more bourbon than I could probably drink all year. So that's what the cost was for me. Or you don't do any of that. It's the $200 general admission ticket, and that's it. Now that doesn't count hotels and travel costs. Hotels are very expensive. I booked early. I have a shit ton of hotel points, so that didn't cost anything. And John paid for the gas. So that's how that worked. But man, it's an expensive thing. And yeah, if they charge, I don't know, man, if VIPs are $1,500, $1,600, and let's not even talk about bottles. Like last year, the expensive bottles were the Heaven Hill chaseable ones, right? This year, that was not the case. The cheapest bottles I got was the VVS. Like, silly as that the VVS was when I think was the cheapest bottle. Maybe the Bardstown single barrel, but all the real expensive, the Buff Turkey stuff. My most expensive bottle was a craft distiller, you know, the 18-year stuff. Fantastic, not a problem with it. But next year, if a bottle of $500 or $600, I can't think. I think Charles from that bourbon dude, he thought last year was peak, and I think there's a certain respect he was right. Peak availability of bottles, you know, the peak good time sort of deal. I think this year is sort of like peak costs, peak pricing. I don't think we can stomach any more price hike. We can't stomach $400, $500, $600 bottles as the rule. And with everything else going on, I think you could find that GA doesn't even fill out next year because a lot of those people are there to fund that trip by selling bottles. And that's the other truth of the matter. Like I'm in this $3,000 and I'm going to keep the bottles because I want to and I can, but that's not what most people are there for. They're going to sell at least a couple of those bottles. Now, they're not flippers. They just can't afford $3,000 for the weekend. So they sell a couple of bottles and maybe it's a wash. I know a lot of people that are going for a wash, and you can probably do it. But that's with secondary prices having already fallen a lot. If they fall much further, that's not going to be possible either. So that pushes a lot of those people out of the market of doing that. Now, is that good or better for the bourbon enthusiast? I don't know. I met a lot of bourbon enthusiasts that were planning to sell at least one or two of the bottles just to sort of cover the costs. So yeah, so there's that option, or you just $200 and have a really, really good time. Now, the only difference is that goddamn VIP tent was awesome. The food was fantastic. So it's a hard decision that everyone's going to have to make next year. But on all of that, I had a fantastic time because it was so cool to meet a lot of you guys that watch these videos. Like, I did these videos for myself. I hardly think anyone apart from my buddies watch them, and even they don't watch them that much. They definitely don't like, subscribe, and comment. Oh, and you've seen the new thing. You can, like, what is it, hype? Definitely hype these videos, whatever the hell that is. But just to meet all you guys and to have people come up to me and say they enjoy my content, that's so freaking cool. That's amazing. So yeah, I'll definitely go again. Bourbon on the Bank's coming up. That's going to be good times too. It'll be a different feel. Got the Heaven Hill event. I don't really want to talk too much about that. Bit of a letdown, to say the least. And it's not just me bitching. I don't think anybody could honestly have gone to that and said that was a good time. But maybe if you weren't paying for it, you know, free time's a good time no matter what happens. For free, fuck yeah. $200. No. So anyway, hopefully they'll step up that next year. Or I think the Bardstown might have been the better one, to tell you the truth. That always looks like more fun. So maybe I'll try the Bardstown one next year. And just because Bardstown, you're not getting a bottle. There was no implication. And it's silly to say that Heaven Hill made a mistake by being so generous the first time around. But their price is just too expensive. At $200, like $200 for some hors d'oeuvres that were delicious, but there wasn't that many of them, and some cigars that were fine, but nobody there talking about cigars. Last year they had like these dudes, these little local guys or whatever, that were there selling their stuff, talking about cigars. I didn't see any cigar person there. They had the Alec Bradley's cigars, which are probably better cigars, but a bit bigger brand. But nobody there really talking about them. And then, come on, man, your small batch cocktails. You could get the Elijah Craig barrel proof. It was the top of the line stuff, and 2 drink tickets. Where last year it was an open bar. But yeah, it was only a cost thing. It really was a good time. It just wasn't the value for $200. Just was not there. But kudos to Heaven Hill for what they did today with the general admission. So not only did they save bottles for when the GA guys came in, they only allowed people with GA wristbands to get the VVS, and that's fantastic, because not all VIP, and I feel for the VIP people that didn't get a bottle at all, because that could have happened. If you were VIP and you showed up at open at 11, even the early open, you were not going to get a Heaven Hill bottle. So if you were in line thinking you made a bad choice, you wouldn't have even got the next, the knob 21. So that truly sucks for the small amount of people of that. But GA was getting a hard time. They weren't getting anything. So absolute kudos to Heaven Hill. I'm not hating on Heaven Hill. I'm sort of hating on that jazz event. It just wasn't fun. And there was a little bit of confusion, and the confusion got made even worse because there were people that had cancelled their tickets and then heard more rumors. Now, just rumors, but these rumors came from Heaven Hill. Like, this guy went to Heaven Hill and asked them, and they very heavily implied there would be bottles there, and there were not. And whatever, man. But and maybe they didn't know. They probably didn't know either. There's probably a few people knew, but they're not the people you're talking to, right? So they were pretty open with everyone the entire way, if you asked, up until the very end and at the very start. So anyway, now the dog's fighting in the background, but it's good to be back to Oscar and Annabelle. So reviews. VVS, check my last videos for the reviews on this stuff, but VVS is fantastic. I'm not the hugest Old Fitz fan. I like them. I like the bottles. Love the 13. This is not the 13, but this is still, if counting out of the Dusties and the older ones, considering this is only 11 years old, this is really good. So if you can get it, not with secondary prices to the boys that are trying to sell them, but it's definitely worth 140. Is buy that all day if you can buy that MSRP. What would I pay for that? I won't say, because Charles will get angry. No, it's, I think it's coming down. I think it's like, I saw it really high, and maybe it might be like $550 now. It's still a lot of money, but I think at $300, it's a fairly good bottle, and beautiful looking bottle, right? The Parker's Heritage. Let's go get that. The Parker's Heritage. This one is unique. I'm gonna have to go back to it and see what I think about it. It has these notes that I've only ever had on other American single malts, like that Dark Arts one. It's like this orange citrus, very heavy orange citrus note. Not many of the normal bourbons, and it's not. I suppose it's Kentucky straight whiskey, but I think the malts in this are pretty predominant. Something's given it that really citrusy taste that I've only had on other things. It's not finished in anything, so very unique. Once again, at MSRP, not even that bad. I think sure the prices. And one that was a real knockout, I think, is this knob 21. Like, this is an oak beast, but I like it. I like oak. Jack Daniel's 14 is my deal, and this is coming off pretty well. So if you see this, especially in this, once again, gorgeous presentation with this box and stuff, I'm gonna have to try and work out how I'm gonna fit all this new whiskey bottles into my collection. But I like the Knob Creek, and once again, I'm not a great Knob Creek fan, but this is probably the best Knob Creek I've had, apart from the Smoky Mountain Bourbon Society's Knob Creek pick that will be coming out here pretty soon. 114 proof, so well lower than the 120, and that was the thing, right? They opened up the cask strength, not really so much to go higher, but so they could bring in all these lower honey barrels that they couldn't normally use for the pick thing. So join Smoky Mountain Bourbon Society, because did you see that? That was also the coolest part of the whole event. Was on the Saturday. Dude, there were more Smoky Mountain Bourbon Society shirts every day. Like, there were no other multiples of shirts you saw walking around, which was super cool. And then on Saturday, with all the orange shirts, you could spot everybody, and we all got together, took a photo, put them in here. That was super cool, man. We took over half the frickin' craft side of the thing. So join Smoky Mountain Bourbon Society. It's good fun. You don't have to live in Smoky Mountain. You don't even have to be a UT supporter. Yes, a lot of the guys are, but we do have blue shirts and red shirts and maroon shirts and black shirts. I wore a black shirt, go the All Blacks. But yeah, so it was great. It was a really great time. I had a great time. I would definitely be back. Depending on the structure, the costs, I'll make my choice whether it's GA or VIP next year, and just if I can get either. But it was great to meet everybody. Sideshow, good to see you, buddy. We'll have to catch up. Oscar, great to see you. I missed the old Barrel X guy from UK. It was, you know, like, this is, even those people that I met, I just ran into them randomly, right? I didn't really plan it very well, and I couldn't, because you don't really know where you're going to be, what you're going to do, what you have to run around to do. So yeah, we'll try and catch up next time. And October 24th, Smoky Mountain Bourbon Society is having a massive party over here in Knoxville, the Harding Valley area. John has organized a humdinger with a band guy, well-known country western singer. Heard his music, it's fantastic. I'm not influenced, but I don't know how we got him. Friends of friends of friends. But he's going to be there. Name will be around here. Free food. Well, not free. $50 gets you food, it gets you drink, it gets you stuff, and it's a bottle share. And we're going to have some banger bottles there. The only thing that won't be there is me, because I'll be in New Zealand. Bad timing. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed these videos. I enjoyed making them. It was really cool. I suppose next year, the only way to get it even any more live is just put a GoPro to my head and fucking walk around and just stream live. But there was already probably way too many F-bombs, but if you're watching my channel, you know that's how it rolls. Sorry to the kiddos and kiddies in the car. And I'm on a dry week. I've drunk so fucking much the last week. Gonna just stop for a little bit. There'll still be videos. Might do a recap, might do some more other stuff. So just won't be me drinking for at least a week. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. It was an awesome time. Good to meet everyone that I met. Sorry if I didn't mention your names, but you know who you are. You can go back in the video and see yourself. So, and thanks for all the new members. Well, no new members. Thanks for all the new subscribers. Thanks to all the members who are fucking awesome. And yeah, the channel had a pretty good week so far with new subscribers and views. Wish I could do it every week, but there isn't a Kentucky Bourbon Fest every week. But there is Bourbon on the Banks coming up in a month. So hang around for that one. Hey guys, we'll see you next time.